guys, what's up? I'm Rizzo.
I'm Zero.
And I'm DK. On this episode of Anime Reaction, we watched the 12th episode of Amanchu.
And it might as well be the final one. If you want to check out our reaction to the 12th episode of Amanchu, hit that link in the description below.
And be sure to give us feedback in the comment section because we love hearing from you.
And as always, if you like what you see, subscribe to Otaku Saga. And don't forget to like and share our videos.
And thanks for watching. So,
we get diving! Finally.
Calm down.
It's been building
I
up for
was
like 10
expecting
episodes.
that from him and that from me.
That is true.
So, yeah, this episode's all about diving, basically. They left early in the morning to go to a diving spot that's better for novice divers, which is...
Nice, sheltered, less riptide.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a cove rather than like...
That rocky beach.
Yeah, they have a... Yeah,
shacks
they have
on.
a... Where they're at would be very turbulent and dangerous, but...
Yeah.
That actually does remind me of the first time I actually went open water diving, which I had to leave at like 4 in the morning from Colorado Springs, driving down to, where was it? I think it was like Santa Rosa, New Mexico. They're right next to a natural spring they call Blue Hole. Basically, Blue Hole is set up just to be a diving training spot. Like, that's all it is. It's like probably 30 feet around, and then I think it goes down 120 feet.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So it's like you said set up, but it's a natural spring, right?
Yeah.
Just used.
So basically, they built like a little platform for people to get ready at, and then they have much like here where they had the buoy or whatever, and then they had a rope going down. They have a couple of those there, and I think one of them goes down to like 35 feet. The other one goes down to 40 feet, which is where you do your open water testing at. But yeah, that really reminded me of that, the going driving, leaving out early in the morning to go to where you're doing your stuff at. And actually, it also reminded me of it because I was the only person who didn't sleep on their trip. It was like an 8-hour drive, I think. I didn't sleep on the trip at all.
Too excited?
No, I can't sleep in vehicles.
Obvious reason.
Yeah, and I can't sleep when it's really, really hot.
And I imagine,
and
really,
yeah, what they did, what the driver who was my diving instructor told me that they do on the trips is when they leave out in the morning, they crank the heat in the van so everybody falls asleep.
dastardly clever.
Yeah, it's very, very clever, except for me it worked the opposite because I sleep in the cold.
I can't.
I was miserable. Absolutely miserable.
Yeah, I would have told the driver, like, I hate your guts, you know that?
Yeah.
You son of a bitch. Anyway.
Yeah, well, I was like, you should have just let me right up front. That way I could just crack the window. Instead of they put me in the back of the van.
Oh, God.
But anyway, so they arrive at the site. It's just big, like, protected cove, basically, where new divers go to dive.
And there was a ton.
Yeah, loads. Loads. I never really had that experience with my diving because when I went to go do my certification, they rented out the entire Blue Hole for my class for that day. I mean, there were still like 30 students.
I'll say, if it's a standard like high school course, I imagine there's a fair bit of people.
Actually, I think there was less than that. There might have been like 15, maybe.
Yeah, for one,
it was a particular high school course because it was a high school class, but you also actually had to pay for all the diving stuff. So it was a physical education elective.
But to do the actual diving,
you had to pay. I can't remember. It probably ended up being around like $400 or so.
So like stuff to cover the equipment rental and the PADI fees and transportation and all that good stuff.
I really wanted to join in.
I really wanted to join in also, but they offered it after I graduated.
Well,
No, because I was a sophomore when I took that.
Or no, they must have offered after I got my PE credits.
Yeah, that I can believe.
All right.
I was searching for anything other than regular PE to do my PE credits.
Right. I even had swimming too.
You actually asked if I was to do that with you, and unfortunately, there was no way we could afford it.
Yeah. But that was fun. That was definitely an experience. Would have been nice to do with a friend, but
Yeah.
actually, I do have a friend that took the course. I think the year earlier. What does he go by on YouTube? Because I can't remember. Trying to figure out how to code this without saying his actual name.
Well,
Hawaiian shirt and shorts in the snow. Does a channel with a guy who lived on that farm above the school.
Yeah.
What does he go by on YouTube?
I think we should do some research on it later. we should.
They have a YouTube channel, and I don't really want to say his actual name,
But we forgot
unless he gives me permission. But we did have a friend that took the course like the year before. I always meant to go diving with him, but we never ended up going because even after you get all your certification, it's still kind of pricey.
Yeah, I mean it's.
And now,
it's expensive
unfortunately,
hobby.
I'd have to retake the. I'd have to do a refresher course.
I'll say, I mean, yeah, we should totally go diving one of these days. Hopefully in less than 12 weeks, or 12 episodes, however long it takes.
Something like
Right?
that.
Yeah, right.
Oh, maybe we should get our. Well, I'll get
You get
certified.
Take a refresher. I'll get my certification.
Yeah, get your certification. We'll do. Take some GoPros with us.
We'll call him Hakagami.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you found him.
Hakagami.
Oh,
That's his gamer tag.
Okay.
Anyway, back to the actual episode. So they suit up, they do their buddy checks, they go out to go diving. Something interesting, they were wearing wetsuits in this rather than dry suits.
Like they have for like every time they've gone in water this series.
I have a feeling that they did that because it's so cold where they live. Because I think they live on the Sea of Japan side, which has a cold current.
Right.
Much like California has a cold current running down the west coast.
But if they go, say, more south.
If you go to the other side of the islands, you get a warm current coming from the south. It's just the way that the world works.
Like currents work.
Yeah, the way that currents work. You get warm currents coming from the south on the east side of land masses, and cold currents coming from the north on the west side of land masses. So I imagine that the Sea of Japan, off Japan, is pretty freaking cold. Maybe not as cold as like we see it here in California because we have a massive current.
I actually thought that the what was it called, the Kuroshio, the current that goes along the east coast of Japan. I thought that flowed southward. And that's why ships go that way. But
If it goes up the east side, it should come from the south. That's just the way the currents work.
Yeah.
Like you see it pretty much any landmass in the world. If it's on the east side of the landmass, it has a warm current going north. Unless it's in the southern hemisphere, then you swap it. But yeah, so they suit up. They're wearing wetsuits, which basically the difference between a wetsuit and a dry suit. I can't remember if we talked about it.
I think we did.
I probably did, but because it's been so long since we've had any diving, I can't remember if we talked about it. But basically, a dry suit keeps you dry except for like your hands, your feet, and your head.
The exposed parts.
Yeah, and a wetsuit lets water in but doesn't let water out. So the water that comes in gets warmed by your body heat, and that keeps you warm. Also, they were wearing the flippers they were wearing were those kind of cheapo style flippers where you just put them on barefooted and they like stick to your feet.
And they apparently come off easily.
Yeah, I've never
lost flippers.
ever. I lived in Hawaii for 4 years. Those are the only kinds of flippers I ever used there. And I think I even still have those flippers somewhere, probably in my parents' house. And I never once had those flippers come off my foot.
Never.
I mean,
it's like they glom onto your feet. It's rubber. It's
rubber. Like they don't move.
Yeah.
I don't care how hard you're kicking. They don't move. And I'm about to go kill our neighbor.
Like, seriously.
For real. Anyway.
Because I get a little bit of music, but that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So sorry about that. But yeah, so they get to the buoy and then they go down. I've also never seen anybody like climb down the rope like that.
All the way.
You don't really have to. Like, if you've properly set yourself up to be neutrally buoyant, you can literally just point yourself down and just swim, and maybe hold on to the loosely hold on to the rope to guide you.
Not like.
Yeah, I've never seen anybody do that. Also, that rope was really, really loose.
Oh yeah,
considering that it's anchored to the ocean floor.
Anchored up, and then the buoy's pretty good too. It should be relatively taut.
No, it should be completely taut. No. Just again, the way that buoys work, like it should be pulling, like because of the current.
Right. It
should be pulling. Yeah. It stays in generally the same place, but it should be pulling taut at almost all times. Mm-hmm. So.
Even if there's like no motion in the water, you might see a slight lack in the rope.
But that looked like the rope became detached from the buoy.
Yeah, pretty much. So slight
that would have
animation
sucked.
error there.
Oh, there's that snappy sound. Someone's cutting the rope.
Yeah. Then they go down. Teko does all her tests,
skill checks, and all.
Yeah.
And passes.
Yeah. So they did the filling up your goggles with water,
clearing it out.
Yeah. They did the hand signals. They did, basically losing your regulator.
And then,
basically it's you bring your arm, sweep it up, and it'll grab all those cords.
All the hoses and everything?
Yeah, all the hoses, and just bring it forward, and then grab your regulator. And then the same thing you saw on the other side, they had their air monitor.
And then
you do that to grab that too.
And then they did what was it? Like buoyancy control. And
that's something that's really cool. Like they didn't show them neutralizing their buoyancy, which you would do at the surface. But basically, you even out between the weights that you're wearing and the buoyancy of your suit and the air in your BCD. You even it out so that you can basically stand up straight in the water, and the water line stays right there. And then so when you breathe in, you come up. When you breathe out, you drop down. And that's what they were trying to show there. But
Teko failed, and it was a glorious, glorious failure.
That's not so important, to be honest.
Not as important as that ass.
And then when they were on their way back up after the test, well, I should say they played around in the underneath the water a little bit before they went back up. Yeah. When they were going back up, Teko was hearing clicking sounds.
And here I was thinking, I'm like, oh shit, something's gone wrong, but they just kept going up.
Yeah, so. At first I thought it might have to do with clearing her ears, maybe she had a squeeze going on, but I guess clearly that wasn't the case.
Yeah, that was something wrong with her. Something wrong with the tank.
I've never gone diving in the ocean, so I've never heard that. But I guess it's supposed to be the waves. Hitting rocks, I guess.
I think that's just shit.
And it was little puncher strips or something like that.
Yeah, that's not what it is. I can almost guarantee that's. She said that. Yeah, she said that it's supposed to be either shrimp snapping their claws or waves lapping against the rocks. I think it was the waves. Honestly, the
I don't think
shrimp
waves
shouldn't be able to make noise that loud, even if there's a large group of them.
Well, I think they'd be far away from where shrimp usually habitate anyway.
Exactly.
But nah, in either case,
I would think that it'd be the waves, I guess.
I think it'd be something different, honestly. But anyway, they
come back up. You know, Teko starts writing her log, which I've never seen a logbook that was
That has
completely
sketches?
empty. Actually, no. I think even in my logbook, which is a more professional one, I think there's even room for like notes or whatever where you could do a sketch if you wanted to.
Okay.
But I've never seen one that's just completely blank. Usually it's like location of dive, how much air did you start with, how much air did you end with, what times were you down, stuff like that. Basically, it's keeping track of how much air you were breathing while you were under, because if you're doing multiple dives during the day, you don't want to suffer from having the nitrogen bubbles.
The bends.
Yeah, the bends. I was forgetting the word. Because, that would suck.
Yeah, it would.
I've heard horror stories. And I don't know how many of those chambers there are in Japan, the pressure chambers to help treat the bends.
But not in the boonies.
Not in the boonies. I mean, you'd be in for like hours or days of like agonizing pain. So it's pretty important to keep track of that. But anyway, so basically the teacher comes up and tells her, hey, you passed.
Gives her the card, everyone claps. Oh.
And then we get a little scene with
Teko and Picari.
Yeah, Teko and Picari basically proclaiming their love for each other.
More or less.
More or less. That's kind of what I got out of that.
Epic Yuri moment at the end.
Yeah, well, that's kind of always the way that this series was going anyway.
Yeah, but this one was more, was Yuri, by this series standards.
Yeah.
So it was, yeah.
Well, it's always been that.
Yeah.
Well, typically for these type of series, like, you kind of always get those vibes, but it never, like, outright says it.
But now, Picari, Teko, OTP.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was cute. Kind of liked it.
Yeah, it's not really my thing, but...
It's not really my thing, but as a...
It was cute.
Yeah, it was cute. Like most things they do. I'm not sure what we're getting next episode, because this one really felt like the end.
It really
It'll
does
probably
feel
be
like a
some
final
sort of
episode.
OVA that has absolutely dick all to do with diving.
Just to piss you off.
Much like the rest of the series.
Just to piss me off.
I do want to point out that like this episode is pretty much exactly why we kept up with this series.
We were
This
holding
episode
out
was
for this
really-
episode.
Yeah, this episode was really, really good.
I just would have liked this series a hell of a lot more if they had more episodes like that.
Indeed.
Because truth be
was
told, the ocean is
beautiful.
a big place.
I don't even necessarily have a problem with the stories that they were telling. It's just if you could weave the diving into the story.
Or not repeat the same story of Teko being socially inept.
But it was visually a spectacle.
Stunning.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly what I wanted to see out of like showing a shitload of divers underneath the water.
You got to see a lot of Teko's mentality as all of this is going on, and all of that is could be pretty real for some people.
You know, I did want to point out that this is exactly how you put an insert song into an anime.
Not
Because
with a pop concert.
if it wasn't for the insert song, then this would have been the actual audio for this episode would have been really, really weird and boring.
Yeah.
Because all it would have been is listening to them breathing and Teko's inner monologue.
Yep.
So,
I mean, yeah, that'd be fine for like a scene.
but this was
But-
like half the episode that they were down there.
And
it
yeah, it didn't devolve into some sort of surreal underwater pop idol concert.
Yeah, that would have been annoying.
Which given the
I really,
anime,
really
I would've
honestly
expected.
would have walked off the set if that were the case.
Yeah, but the thing is, yeah, I wouldn't put it past modern anime, truth be told.
Well, they They could certainly attempt in Chlamydia code, because that stuff was like...
Don't give them ideas.
Well, they could do it there because they could breathe underwater.
Yeah.
God. I really hope that doesn't come to pass now.
But
if it does, I will walk off set.
But yeah, so I guess we'll see what the next episode brings. Did you have anything you want to add for this episode?
other than it was like absolutely stunning, and
Was it worth the wait?
no.
No.
No. There you go.
It should have happened on like episode 7.
Yeah, at this point, you can just watch the series by skipping episodes 3 through 10. And that's sad.
And there you have it. Let us know what you thought of the anime, what you thought of our reaction in the comment section below.
Yep, thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't.
But that's going to do it for this episode of my... Yeah, I was about to say series, but I got tongue-tied. That's about the...
That does it for this episode of Anime Reaction. As always, I'm Rizzo.
I'm Zero. What?
Oh, I was just picking up where he left off.
Okay.
I wasn't going to cut.
Yeah.
Well, now we have to cut it.
Yeah, sorry.
I was just going to pick up where he flubbed off and not cut
Sorry,
it
I
at
flubbed
all.
off at first, and then, like, the fucking noise.
My bad. I was just like, oh, yep.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
Yeah, I was just going to leave it a little bit rough because, honestly, sometimes I like that in YouTube videos.
So I like it too sometimes, but yeah, second flow up was...
Okay. Let us know what you thought of the anime, what you thought of our reaction in the comment section below.
Yep, thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't.
But that's going to do it for this episode of Anime Reaction. As always, I'm DK.
I'm Zero.
And I'm Rizzo.
See you next time.